What's happening, my Jacked family? Coach Scott here, jackedafter40.com and shreddedafter40.com. In today's video, we're going to talk about how much weight you should gain when trying to build muscle after 40. Because if you want to give yourself the best chance to build muscle after 40, you are going to need to be in a calorie surplus and you are going to need to gain some weight from month to month. So we're going to go over, number one, what the evidence and research shows, how much weight you should gain each and every month. We're going to go based on past experiences as well as personal preferences, because there is no one size fits all rate of weight gain for you to build muscle after 40. So we need to cover all of these bases. It's going to be very individual to yourself based on these three key factors here. So let's dive into it. First, let's take a quick look at what the evidence and research shows as to how much weight we should gain when trying to build muscle after 40. And as you can see here, after 4 years of smart, intelligent training, giving our best effort in the gym, we can look at gaining maybe 2 to 3 pounds of muscle per year. And that's going to continue to decrease each and every year that we get more lifting experience under our belt. So if you're a bro like myself, over 40 with over 30 years of lifting experience under my belt, chances of me gaining 2 to 3 pounds of muscle per year are going to be pretty minute there. Now, there are genetic outliers out there. There are going to be some men over 40 with lots of years of lifting experience under the belt who aren't going to be able to gain more than 3 pounds of muscle. I mean, that's few and far between. Those are basically genetic freaks. And who knows if they're on testosterone therapy or any kind of other performance enhancing drugs. But genetic outliers, even if no drugs or anything like that, no hormone replacement therapy, there are some genetic outliers that were just genetically gifted to continue gaining muscle over the years. I don't see any of those out there. I know very few, if any at all, men over 40 who are gaining more than 3 pounds of muscle per year legitimately, especially naturally. And there are genetic outliers on the other end of the spectrum who are going to really struggle with years of lifting under their belt, being over 40, to gain half a pound of muscle per year, and maybe just happy to maintain their muscle over the years. So this is just something to give you a little bit of perspective. Again, aiming, if you want to have a goal of gaining muscle each and every year, I think 2 to 3 pounds of muscle is good to kind of aim for. It's a good target to aim for, and not be disappointed if you can't quite hit it, even if your training is spot on, nutrition, lifestyle, everything is spot on. The main thing is just giving your best effort at this stage of the game and just making the most out of the gifts that you've been granted, making the most out of your genetic potential. Can you gain muscle at this stage of the game? Absolutely, hell freaking yes, you can. It's just going to be at a much slower pace, and you have to just give your best focus effort and really focus on the process more than anything, because it's going to be very tough to measure and gauge the process, the progress that you're making. So rather than focusing on the outcome, which is probably going to be a long way down the road, really focus on mastering the process, making sure that you're in a gentle calorie surplus, focusing on enhancing your overall lifestyle, and just making the most of your training and nutrition. Now, as with all evidence and research, it's simply meant to guide us, give us some insight and direction to apply to our own practices. What's most important is our own personal experiences. Now, I've gone through many different muscle building phases during the past 10 years, and I've learned from each of those experiences. The first 3 times I gained 30 pounds, and I'd end up having to cut for about 16, sometimes 20 weeks to shed that 30 pounds, and in the end up with 1 pound of muscle gain. Then I spent 2 years where I only gained 20 pounds because I realized like 30 pounds, just gaining 30 pounds for 1 pound of muscle just wasn't worth it. So let's just gain 20 pounds, see if that makes much of a difference. And when I gained 20 pounds, I only had to cut for 12 weeks instead of the 16 to 20 weeks. So that was great, but in the end, gained 1 pound of muscle. So I'm like, shit, well, let's see, maybe 10 pounds is the way to go. So I'd gained 10 pounds during a year, like 11 months of focused building, no less than maintenance level calories, and then only have to cut for about 4 to 6 weeks. In the end, 1 pound of muscle gained. So I've been doing those little mini cuts where I'm gaining about 7 to 10 pounds for the past few years and only having to cut for 4 weeks out of the year. and again, in the process, gaining 1 pound of muscle through the process. So basically, whether I've gained 30 pounds, 20 pounds, or 10 pounds or 7 pounds, I end up with a pound of muscle. So the excess weight gain, it's like we always said, you can't force feed muscle growth. Like if you are, as long as you are gaining weight consistently each and every month, and you can start seeing, you see a little bit of visible fat gain, even though it takes slow and steady process, you're giving yourself enough opportunity, you're providing yourself with enough calories to fuel your muscle building efforts. Taking it to the extreme, like gaining 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and getting a little sloppy just isn't worth it. But again, that's going to come down to the next thing, which is personal preferences. Now, I personally don't enjoy restricting my calories or cutting, and even during this last 4-week mini cut, I found myself thinking, like, although it felt effortless and it went very smooth, I found it would be better, like this year, splitting up and doing two-week mini cuts instead of a 4-week mini cut, just because it's just less mental effort and focus on deprivation. And personally, I love to spend most of my year in maintenance and a gentle surplus, just giving my body the best opportunity to grow, to thrive, to live my life to the fullest. And the thought of having to go through a 12-week cutting phase ever again just does not appeal to me whatsoever. And based on my past experiences, it's not worth it. Like, my experiences show that gaining all that excess fat and then having to cut it down just produces the exact same result. So why put myself through the deprivation if I can just continue living my life to the fullest around maintenance, a gentle surplus, and maintaining a lean physique year round. And that is the other thing, like, I do prefer to be lean year round. It's how I feel my best. It's how I perform my best. Like when I'm playing hockey 20 pounds heavier or 30 pounds heavier, I am slower on the ice. Like I don't feel my best. I don't function my best with a lot of different activities that I do throughout my everyday life. Like this is like being lean, staying lean after 40 is where I absolutely feel my best. It's where I thrive. It's where I have my best zest for life. Now that's me and my personal preferences. That doesn't mean that that's going to be best for you. There are some men over 40 who really prefer to gain 20 pounds or even 30 pounds during a muscle building phase. They enjoy eating more. They enjoy the bigger calorie surpluses, and they don't mind the 16 weeks of cutting. They can thrive from that 16 weeks of cutting. But it's just really important to know that there are sacrifices, there are trade-offs. You do run the risk of losing some muscle mass with extended cutting phases, especially if you're going to be somewhat aggressive during that cutting phase. And it also means that you're spending more time out of the year dieting than if you were to keep the fat gains to a minimum and just do a quick little mini cut and then get right back to building again and maintenance again. So there's trade-offs with both, but again, what matters most is, all right, if gaining 20 to 30 pounds or gaining only 10 pounds produces the same end result of muscle gain, and you have more fun gaining the 20 pounds of weight compared to the 10 pounds, you roll with that. You go with what suits you best. If you don't feel like you need to be lean year round, you don't have to be lean year round. For myself, again, I'm just basing on my own personal preferences. And I think what's most important is not so much the look as it is where you feel your best overall. What allows you to live your life to the fullest. For me, again, like 12 weeks of dieting doesn't allow me to live my life to the fullest compared to 4 weeks out of the year. So again, it's a trade-off. That's me. This is my personal preference. Don't allow that to influence you so much. It really comes down to your past experiences, your own personal preferences, as long as you're very aware of what the evidence and research shows what we can expect to gain. So don't go thinking that typically like gaining 20 pounds or 30 pounds is going to mean, all right, more of that is going to be muscle mass, because in most cases for us men over 40, it's not going to happen. It's going to be relatively the same whether you gain 10 pounds, 20 pounds, or 30 pounds. So again, it just comes down to what process you enjoy the most. And for me, just my days of bulking and cutting are long over. I just don't get any kind of satisfaction out of that. And I don't get any better results from that. So I prefer to stay closer to maintenance level calories, just a gentle surplus. That's what the evidence and research shows is best. The evidence shows that we're looking at 60 to 100 calorie surplus is all us men over 40 should be consuming in order to build muscle. That's minimal. I mean, we're talking, there's almost a margin for error there and how many calories are burned throughout the day and how many calories are consumed. It's very tough to know for sure if we're in a calorie surplus each and every day, which is very important to make sure that month after month we do see that weight trending upwards just a little bit. We're talking like half a pound to a pound a month there for most of us men over 40, which is minute. But over the course of the year, that adds up. And over the course of the year, that's an entire year of a calorie surplus and giving your body enough fuel to build muscle. Like that is, you're gaining weight, you're gaining some fat in the process, you've provided your body with enough fuel to grow. So that is what matters. Yeah, if you want to make sure that you are definitely, without a question of doubt, that you're in a surplus, yeah, you gain weight at a faster rate, just know that you're gonna have to cut more and make sure that you're comfortable with that. What you don't want to have happen is that you gain weight at a faster rate and 2 months down the line, you're like, I feel sloppy right now, it's time to cut again. You don't want to be doing that up and down cutting, like not giving yourself enough time to build muscle before you start cutting again. You want to be back and forth jumping around. You want to make sure you give yourself at least 4 months in a muscle building phase. I prefer 5 to 6 months in a calorie surplus before cutting. So try not to be overly aggressive and know yourself that if you don't enjoy feeling a little bit sloppy, you're much better off taking that slower and steady approach. You're still giving yourself every opportunity to build muscle and while staying lean in the same process. So again, personal preference is what matters most in addition to your own personal past experiences. If you have witnessed that you have gained more muscle when you did gain 20 pounds or 30 pounds of weight in that process compared to when you only gained 10 pounds, that's what matters most to you. It matters more than what the research shows because you are your own experience, your own experiment. So go based on your own personal experiences more than anything. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found the information valuable. If you did, please do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button. If you know a fellow bro who would benefit from watching today's video, do me a favor and share it with them more than anything. I would love to hear from you down in the comment section below. Share your experiences. What has worked best for you? What approach are you taking right now? I want to hear from you. And again, we're learning and growing together, learning from each other's experiences. Before you go, don't forget to download your free guide, Jacked After 40. Have yourself an amazing day. Catch you in the next video.